Welcome back to Full-Time Hockey, and we've got a huge trade today between the Winnipeg Jets and the LA Kings. And who is it? Mr. Pierre-Luc Dubois. He finally gets his wish, gets out of Winnipeg, but instead of getting his wish city of Montreal, he goes to LA in California instead. They probably have better weather in Hollywood than in Montreal, especially in wintertime. So I don't think he'll mind going to LA. So only at the young age of 25, Pierre-Luc Dubois now moves on to his third team in the NHL. So originally drafted by Columbus in 2016 as the third overall pick, he stayed there for about 3 or 4 seasons. But as everybody knew it, he was extremely unhappy there and requested a trade out. So he was finally traded to Winnipeg in exchange for Patrick Laine and Jack Roslovic. So he plays in Winnipeg for 2 years, and then he requested another trade as he wants out of Winnipeg this time and finally gets to move on to LA for a long-term contract for 8 years. So what does this trade involve? It's a 1-for-4 deal, and Winnipeg should be happy with its returns. So Pierre-Luc Dubois goes from the Winnipeg Jets to the LA Kings. LA Kings swap Alex Iafallo, Rasmus Kupari, and Gabriel Vilardi over to Winnipeg, and they also include a second-round draft pick in the 2024 NHL draft for next year. Pierre-Luc Dubois signs an 8-year extension right away with the Kings, earning him an AAV of $8.5 million. So he'll be fine in that department for the next 8 years until 2031. He'll be making quite a lot of money, and maybe he'll be on a competitive team that could probably win a few rounds in the playoffs. Going the other way, of the 3 players going to Winnipeg, only Alex Iafallo still has 2 years left on his $4 million contract. The other 2 guys, Rasmus Kupari and Gabriel Vilardi, both RFAs, and Vilardi has arbitration rights. However, Vilardi had registered 41 points in 63 games this last season, so he'll be expecting a salary boost for sure, maybe around the $3 million range. I'm not sure if that could do it. Anyhow, the other guy, Kupari, he only got 15 points in 66 games last year, so he won't be as expensive if Winnipeg chooses to continue with him. Maybe he'll get around $1 million salary. And in Alex Iafallo, they're going to get a 29-year-old veteran player. He scored 36 points in only 56 games last season, so his $4 million contract is pretty good. The Jets will be getting a left wing top 6 player that can contribute to the offense. Maybe play with Wheeler if he's still there. We're not sure who's going to stay in Winnipeg, so I won't go much into this topic until we get more news later in the season, or in the off season. Shifley, Wheeler, all these other guys, we're not sure if they're going to stay in Winnipeg, so let's not make any assumptions right now at this moment. So let's talk about Mr. Pierre-Luc Dubois. Him getting an $8.5 million contract. It's actually the same contract that Leon Draisaitl got at $8.5 million. But Mr. Dubois is no Mr. Draisaitl for sure in that department, as Draisaitl had 128 points last season versus Dubois' career high of only 63 points. But at the same salary, those people who said Draisaitl got a bad contract, too expensive, whatever, a few many years ago, now it looks like his contract is the best in the NHL, and no other contract can top that. So with the addition of PLD to their team, the LA Kings add a top-end talented power forward to their ranks. He would most likely slot in behind Anze Kopitar as their second-line forward and lead the charge. So only in these past few years, the LA Kings had came out of the bottom of the Pacific Division and have entered the playoffs for 2 years in a row. Previously, they were garbage. They couldn't do anything. Probably ended up like 6th, 7th place in the Pacific, and not a threat at all. Now, for the last couple of years, they played against the Edmonton Oilers in the first round of playoffs, and in both years, they pushed the Oilers to games 6 and 7. So it was not just an easy defeat for the Oilers. Actually, last year they were in second place most of the time in the Pacific, and only fell behind by a few points. So with the addition of Pierre-Luc Dubois, maybe this can push them over that hump and get them into the second round of the playoffs for the first time in a long time, and do some damage in the Pacific. So with that said, let's hear what PLD has to say about his trade and his new team.
Welcome to LA on LA's behalf. When in the process did it become something that you kind of wanted to expedite this summer instead of waiting it out?
Yeah, I mean, there's the 1 year left before becoming a UFA. But, without a contract, if I had a contract, it could have been a different story. But without a contract, there needs to be a new one signed. And we thought that it was a good time to let the team know that, this is the route we want to go. Obviously, just me wanting it wouldn't have worked. We needed to work together. And, it got to this point now where obviously I get traded here, but we wanted to be as clear as possible from the start with the Jets and with the whole organization that this is the route we want to take. And from that moment on, we kind of worked together to get to this point.
I heard that you had wanted to work with Winnipeg to help them, which is, a wonderful aspect to this for sure. But the heart of the question was, why not Winnipeg? Why couldn't Winnipeg be a place that you signed and stayed for 8 years?
Yeah, I think throughout the whole process, there's a lot of questions I had to ask myself, and it's nothing. I think Winnipeg. I think it's. I saw an opportunity with the LA Kings that to me was like a dream come true. To be able to play with this organization, to be able to play with this team, to get to work and play with some players that I looked up to when I was a kid. I think it's going to be a really fun experience. And I spent 3 really great years in Winnipeg. I met unbelievable people. Played with some teammates that I'll keep in touch with the rest of my life, and I can't thank anybody enough there, from the whole organization to the players to the fans, for their support from day one in year one when it was more of a struggle, and they stayed and supported me, and I appreciate that a lot. And now I'm really looking forward to this new chapter, and like I said, it's more I'm looking forward and not necessarily back.
Dan Greenspan.
Hey, Pierre-Luc. Congratulations. Nice to talk to you. Obviously, the Kings have Andre Kopitar and Phil Deneau that have been manning their top 2 center spots the last couple seasons. What did the Kings tell you about where they think you'll fit in?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I've talked to a lot of the staff already today, but we didn't go into too much detail. But the opportunity to play with 2 centers like that is something I'm really looking forward to. Obviously I've played 6 years in the NHL now, but I still have a lot to learn. And those are 2 guys that you look at the way they play the game in every aspect, offensively, defensively, on faceoffs. I think for me, in the position I'm in, it's really an unbelievable opportunity for me to get to know them on and off the ice, to get to work with them, to get to see how they practice and their details and all that. But for when it comes to where it all goes, I didn't get into those conversations yet with anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Eric Stevens.
Hey, Pierre-Luc, congratulations on the new deal, first of all. You can hear me okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. In your mind, an 8-year, contract extension, that's a pretty long commitment. Is that something that you always had in mind? And this was kind of big out. And I think you touched in terms of the merits of playing for the Kings. Also, what about the city of LA that appeals with that commitment?
Sorry, I heard you. I heard your first half. I didn't hear the second half. I'm sorry.
You made an 8-year commitment.
Yeah.
what is it about even the city of LA, in addition to the Kings, that made it appealing to want to commit to the team and the city for that long a period?
Yeah, well, first I think my dream is to win a Stanley Cup. And I look at the organization, I look at the players, the whole roster, the staff, and everybody, and I see that opportunity. And that's something that really, really excited me from the start. And when we saw that LA could be an option, that's something that really got my interest. And then from that moment on, obviously we're hockey players. Our job is to play and to compete on the ice and win hockey games. But you also go home. You also have time away from the rink. And in the city of LA, every time I've gone, I've been lucky enough to do camps when I was younger in LA and be on the road and have days off there. And it's something that I've always been on the East Coast. I've always had the winters, and I've always had the snow, and I've always had, but to be able to be in the city of LA is something that also that really excites me. And 8 years is a long time, but there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that this is a great decision. This is the right decision for me to make.
And a quick follow-up: how much growth do you feel like you still have as a player, and how can the Kings help you to get to your absolute peak?
Yeah, I think it's funny. Sometimes I feel like an old guy. Sometimes I feel like a young guy. I just turned 25 3 days ago. I'm hopefully going to play my 500th game in the NHL this upcoming season. But I have so much to learn still, and to be able to learn from the coaching staff that's already there, and the players, and like I just said, guys like Philippe Deneau and Anze Kopitar, who was one of my favorite players growing up. And every time we play against him, you're on the bench and you're looking at how he takes faceoffs, what route he takes on breakouts, and all those things. And I think you can learn multiple ways. You can learn by doing video, by just paying attention to it. But I think seeing it every day and being around those guys and picking their brains and how they see the game and whatnot, I think that's really how you can learn the most and the fastest. And I think that's also one thing that really excites me about this next chapter.
Hey, Pierre-Luc, thank you for being here. For maybe Kings fans that didn't get a chance to watch a lot of Winnipeg game last year, maybe aren't super familiar with your game, what would you maybe a scouting report on your game, what can you bring to the team?
Yeah, I think I'm somebody that could do a bit of everything on the ice. I'm a centerman that likes to help his defensemen on breakouts and forwards, and likes to help on the rush and zone. I really try to play that 200-foot game and pass the puck, shoot the puck. I think it's to be the complete player I want to become. It takes time, and I think I'm getting closer and closer to that. I'm really excited to get to LA and to get to learn from everybody. But I try to bring that mix of everything on the ice every night, and being a competitor, being competitive in front of our net, in front of their net. That's really the type of player that I think I am, and I'm trying to become more and more every game.
Awesome. And Tom McClellan's talked a lot about kind of a secondary leadership group in LA after guys like Andre Kopitar and Drew Doughty. There's guys like Adrian Kempe and guys around your age. Do you feel like you kind of fit into that secondary leadership group, someone who can kind of help players like Quinton Byfield, Art Kelly, the really young guys on the team grow? And how do you think you can grow into that role?
Yeah, I think whenever you talk about leadership, it's something that I think with time develops naturally. And I'm really excited to just get there and meet everybody, talk to everybody, get to know everybody on and off the ice. And like I said, I think those things just happen naturally. I'm very fortunate. I got to learn from a lot of great players, a lot of great people that have helped me throughout my career. And yeah, I think at some point it's your time to turn into that. And I'm 25. It's like I feel like I'm still a young guy, but I feel like I also have experience. So I think I have that good mix. And like I said, I think it's something that has to happen naturally, and it's not necessarily something that you search for, you look for. It just happens with time.
Hey, congratulations on coming to the West Coast. I've got a kind of philosophical question for you. What's it like to be an impending free agent? What's it like to be in the media market type coverage of what Canada does with all the players, the glare of the spotlight? And was there any consideration about going home to Quebec, to Montreal? And is that a different challenge too?
Yeah, I think as a free agent, I think when all the stories are coming out and everything, and you're just sitting there and you can't say much, and there's people saying, he wants this, he wants that, he said this, he said that, but in reality, nothing really has changed or nothing's really happened. It's a good learning experience. I think it's hard also for the family and the friends around you that see this stuff, like my mom reading stories and stuff that she asked me if it's true or anything like that. I mean, we live in a day where with the media and with the internet, the word spreads fast, and even if it's not true, it spreads fast. So to sit here the past couple months and just wait for this exact moment, at times I was getting excited for this moment to happen, but I knew that if I stayed patient, it'd be worth it. And there's a lot of options on the table at the beginning, but I always just wanted to be somewhere where I could win a Stanley Cup and where I felt like it was a good fit and where I felt wanted. And as soon as I found out that moment was LA, there was no doubt in my mind that this is the right decision to make.
And to follow up quickly, have you ever been surrounded by such firepower as what the Kings have on the ice in terms of goal scorers? I mean, got 5 snipers, if you will, and good defensive players. Has that ever happened before?
Yeah, it's a great team, and it's not a fun team to play against. So to be able to join them and be on the other side of it and to play with all those players, it's something I'm really looking forward to. Right now it kind of still feels surreal, everything that's going on right now, but I'm sure once I get to LA and get to meet everybody and get to skate with everybody, it'll hit me that this team is something I think that we can do something special, and I think that's the goal every year. But I'm really looking forward for step one of meeting everybody.
Pierre, thank you very much.
Thank you.
As last year progressed, I think we identified certain needs, at the trade deadline, then certain needs as we got down throughout the season and the playoffs. Now that continues in the summer, trying to add pieces that will improve, and specifically here in the middle of the ice. I think, with Todd and the organization, we believe in the defense and in the middle of the ice, obviously, and this gives us a piece up the middle.
If I can ask, just timeline-wise, about what time today or whether even before, whatever, did you at least arrive with the particulars being hammered out in terms of the pieces?
Player-wise?
Yeah.
That probably came a little bit more last night.
Okay.
Through those discussions, and then it has to shift to getting permission to speak to the agent regarding terms of the contract, and then understanding from the league how the sign and trade will officially work.
Was that second up in the air in terms of parting with that, or?
No,
were there much back and forth?
I mean, there was different things within the package. It settled on that part of it. Yeah.
Does he have no movement protection in this deal?
Yeah, I don't have the exact wording for it right now. Jake Goldberg handles a lot of that. Probably very similar to Kevin Fiala's type deal that we've had here within our structures.
We heard a lot about the Montreal Canadiens and possibly other teams being in the mix, but did you feel pressure that from this discussion, or was it linear with the Jets all through the process?
Yeah, no, it was good communication with Winnipeg throughout the last few days here, obviously getting it done. But we don't know the specifics of some of those other conversations they had.
Actually, my question would be, did you feel you were in a bidding war?
You never really know, truly don't know. So we understood what we could make available, I guess, and we stood with that.
A little off topic just to close, but Andre Kopitar honored last night by the NHL. Just thoughts on him being recognized for his
it's terrific. He continually leads our team, and just on his actions, but off the ice too, and a lot of the things he does. So again, when we can bring different players in and surround them with players like Anze, it's definitely a benefit for our organization.
He mentioned at the avail at the end of the season he wanted to be a one-team athlete.
yeah.
Have you had any discussions with the extension?
I've not extension-wise or anything. I got a good time frame of what he would like, and so yeah, we're gonna work on that throughout the summer and get that done. He's a very important part of our team.
Is there any hope of getting it done before the season?
I would hope so. Yes.
All right.
Thank you.